ultimately, sorry, sorry. It will all ultimately boil down to how strong your why is. How badly do you want to make money? And I'll start with my personal story. Pratibha knows it a little bit, but not too much. Uh, at the age of 7, I lost my father. He was 37. And overnight, as a family, we were brought into abject poverty. We used to live in a 10-story building in Calcutta, 70 flats, lots of friends. And every single day, when I look back at my life and the pain that I have gone through, I think it has all to do with the fact that I did not have a father. And because I did not have a father, we were poor. Because we were poor, uh, you know, as a growing up child back then also, every small need had to be killed, had to be sacrificed, which led to so many tears that my brother and I can't even recall. Today, very, very often we will Zomato, Swiggy, something. In those days, even if we had to, my brother and I had to probably go and eat a street food. So in Calcutta, we are famous for puchka and buri. It was actually a planned exercise. My mom would have had to save for about a month so that in those days we could go and eat probably 1 rupee of jal buri or 50 paisa of puchka. You have no idea what it means to be poor. And so bad was that 15 years of my life that one thing became very clear to me that come what may, I will not be poor in my life. If required, I will steal. If required, I will kill. But I will not grow old uh, without money. And this is what I also tell my daughters that they can grow young without money, but it's a crime to grow old without money. And I am not trying to be a lot more moralistic about it, but I'm just sharing personal experience that how much money you will end up making will be a function of how badly you want that money. It again boils down to how badly you wanted your mindset that you wanted. Because I am a very firm believer that if your why is strong enough, you will figure out the how, which is what I ended up doing. I figured out my how. And the idea today is to take you guys through some of this. Why I mentioned that it is very easy to make money because at its core, there is only one thing at play. So let's look at some data to kind of demonstrate why it is so easy, why making money could change generational wealth for you. Let's assume your daughter or your mother, whoever it is today. I don't know the demographic of people who are joining today, but let's assume you are somebody who's 27-year old. That's generally the age at which people start working. Assuming you are reasonably well educated, you are making reasonable amount of salary. If you end up investing only 10,000 rupees every month, I'm not talking a lot of money, only 10,000 rupees every month, and you do this for a period of 25 years. When you are 52, that 10,000 rupee money that you have invested every month will become 2 crore rupees. That's the power of money, what investing can do to you. But it doesn't stop there. Now, assuming when you are 52, what is my age today, and you have saved up 2 crore of rupees, you today have the liberty to now ensure that your son or your daughter goes and gets the best quality education anywhere in the world. Today, a 2-year MBA at a Harvard will cost you roughly about the same amount of money, about 2 crores. Assuming my daughter has in it her to probably go and get that great quality education because I chose to invest 10,000 rupees when I was 27 every month. That's all I did. When she graduates, obviously her salary levels will be significantly higher because she's a Harvard graduate or a IIM graduate or whatever that university it is. If she saves, instead of me saving 10,000 after 25 years, only 1 lakh rupee every month. When she is 52, she will have 20 crores with her. And this is one of my objective. I want to give my daughter 20 crores of investment. But this is where the big change happens. If my daughter, that 20 crore, if she gives it to her daughter, and my granddaughter doesn't do anything with this money, but just puts it where it is, when she is 52, this 20 crores will become 400 crores. Over a period of 75 years, 10,000 rupees becomes 400 crores. Trust me, it's not difficult. It just started with 10,000 rupees. And here you don't have to do anything extraordinary. What you have to do is what we will come. And I share one more unique story. There is this gentleman who was born in 1932. He started working at the age of 16 in the year 1948. Today, this gentleman's third generation is at play. Guess what that generation's net worth is today? We all saw this entire generation on social media for the last 2-3 days. Even now the feed comes up. Yes, I am talking about Anand Ambani and Radhika's pre-wedding anniversary. Dhirubhai Ambani started as a petrol pump attendant. In 75 years, their family is today worth 20 lakh crores. If he can do it, why can't we do it? I am not saying 20 lakh crore, but all of us have the potential to make 400 crores by beginning with only 10,000 rupees of investment every month. So guys, it's not very difficult to create disproportionate wealth. But if you create disproportionate wealth, it has a generational impact. When we were growing up, we were saying, right, 7 janmo tak you can stay great. What you do today will define what your granddaughter will leave behind. Then nobody in her generation and forward will have to work. That's the power of creating wealth. And I think, and that is what Pratibha was also trying to say, it is not up to men or women. Anybody and everybody can do this. So what is the secret sauce? How did that 10,000 rupees become 400 crore over a 75-year period? All I will say is there are 3-4 things at play. 1, time, 75 years. 2, patience. 3, your belief, your conviction. And number 4, I would want to thank Einstein for this. But why Einstein? Because all of this gets combined in a very simple formula which we've all learned, called the power of compounding. Compounding is what Einstein called the 8th wonder of the world. If you ask Warren Buffett, who's probably among the wealthiest of individuals in the world, arguably the best investor the world has ever seen, he says, my secret is America and the power of compounding. This is what you saw was the power of compounding. There is a mathematical formula to this, which is what I have represented, which is your wealth is equal to P into 1 plus R to the power of N. As Pratibha said, I cannot use any technical jargons, but I had to use it. But let's forget the formula. Let's make it a lot more relatable. How this is such a simple formula for all of us to ensure that we can put it into action. I'm sure all of you use your GPS to travel from one location to the other. This formula is nothing but the same GPS that you use every single day on your Google map. What do? You will put where you are today, which is your starting destination, where you want to go as your ending destination. So let's say I've taken an example. I am currently at my home and I want to come to Everstone office. I have a lot of options to go. I can start walking. It will take me 2 hours and 49 minutes. I can obviously take my car, which will take me 42 minutes. I can take a bike that will take me 36 minutes. I can take a train, which can take 47 minutes. All the options are available to me. So from where I start to where I want to reach and what medium I want to take is completely up to us. But that is all that is to power of compounding. Where I want to be, what is my starting point, how much time do I want to take to be there? If I'm able to do all of this, I will know what is the return that I need to generate. What is the speed at which I need to move? That's all that is for you to understand. If you know only these 4 points, if you know these 4 pieces of your GPS, you know you can create wealth. That is as simple as it is to creation of wealth. There is nothing else. Everything in the world of financing comes to only these 4 variables. In the example that we share, your starting point was 10,000 rupees. That was my home in the GPS. Where I wanted to go, which is the Everstone office, was 2 crore of rupees. And I wanted to go from 10,000 rupees to 2 crore of rupees over a 25-year period, which meant that the 10,000 rupees I invested had to generate a return of 12% every year. That's all that is. Now, interestingly, like juggling balls, you can keep juggling any of these 4 parameters, and you can decide where you want to start, where you want to reach, how much time you want to give, or how much return you want to generate. Now, look at this interesting example. I can reach the same goal of 2 crore of rupees. Number one, if I want to shrink, say the time period of time, or I want to increase instead of 2 crores to 5 crores. First way I can do is instead of 10,000 rupees, I can invest 20,000 rupees, 27,000 rupees every month. By putting 27,000 rupees instead of 2 crores, I can make 5 crores. Let's assume I have only 10,000 rupees, but I still want to make 5 crores. Instead of 25 years, if I remain invested for 33 years, I can make 5 crore of rupees. Let's assume you are somebody more greedy like me, who says, yeah, I have 10,000 rupees. I don't want to change 25 years, but at the end of 25 years, I want to make 5 crore of rupees. Then I don't have a choice. My money has to generate 17% return. So depending on what your objective is, depending on how much money you have, how much time you have, you can decide how much risk you want to take, how much returns you want to generate. That is all that is. There is no further complication here. So let's start breaking each of these points. The first thing when I do these sessions with a lot of younger people, I generally ask them, what is your destination? Because if you do not know where you are going, you will be like a feather in the wind. And if you are like a feather in the wind, you don't know where to go. A lot of us do not today have a very clear vision in terms of what my destination should be. So there are only 2 ways you can look at the destination. Either you are somebody who is very clear that at the end of 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, this is the amount of wealth I want to generate, or this is the amount of wealth I want. Your reasons could be any. This is the method what we call as forecasting. And the number could be completely out of whack. You probably have a pen and paper with you today. Just put down whatever that number is. After 20 years, I want 20 crores. After 20 years, I want 10 crores. After 20 years, I want 50 crores. It could be any number that you aspire to achieve. That is one way to decide that this is the amount of wealth I want to generate. This is my destination. The other way is somewhere I don't know what my destination is. In which case, we can use the backcasting method. You can go Google and search for anything called as compounding calculator. It will throw you a lot of search engines where you can go and click and get a compounding calculator, where you can put what money you have today to invest. You can then choose how many years you want to put over there. You can choose your rate of return, and it will tell you how much money you will have at the end of 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, whatever that is. It will give you an insight that by saving 10,000 rupees every month in a 25-year period, I will have 2 crore of rupees. And then you can start building your dreams that if over a 20-25 year period, I have 2 crores of rupees, what do I want to do with this? Do I want to buy a home? Do I want to buy a Mercedes? Do I want to go on a world tour? Do I want to buy jewelry? Do I want to give this wealth to my daughter so that she can have a very different life? It is your choice. But by somewhere, either choosing the destination that you want or discovering what that destination could be, depending on what your starting point is, it will give you a lot of insights. Through that, your mindset will get a lot more stronger why you want to create a lot more wealth. But if you see below, I put a triangle. A triangle defines change. Your destination need not be a static destination. You can change your destination. Your destination can change in 12 months. It can change in 5 years as your needs or your wants keep changing. But it is important somewhere you need to know what that destination is or what that destination cannot be. Because if you do not know where you are going, as I said, you will be like a feather going in the wind. One thing I can tell you that I tell my daughters that what should be your worst case scenario. It doesn't matter where you are today. Worst case scenario, your end point or your destination should be financial independence. And what is my definition of financial independence? At the age of 65, you should have that much wealth with you that the interest from that wealth should take care of your lifestyle at that point of time so that you are not dependent on anybody to earn a great life. Mind you, at that point of time, you are still not touching your wealth. Only the interest that you are making from that, you are using that interest to live a life that you want to live at the age of 65 so that you can do things that you like at that point of time. Whether it is watching movies, going out to restaurants, spending time with friends, for example, going out on holidays, visiting your kids and your grandkids, whatever that is, that should be, in my view, your worst case scenario. So, for a lot of you, it is important as your homework after this session is that through this session, discover what your destination is, number one. What is the kind of lifestyle on its worst case you want to live at the age of 65? It will give you a good starting point in terms of what your destination must be. And then you can work backwards in terms of what your starting point can be. Which then brings us to the second variable. What is your now? What is your today? Because that is what your starting point is. And this is where most of us have a very different view on what the starting point is, or worst case, we don't even know what our starting point is. That at that Pratibha played, one of the questions that was asked, do you know how much money are you making today? And trust me today, if I were to ask over here amongst the 36 to 40 people who are there, how much money do you make? Most of us have a very rough idea, but not a clear, crystal clear idea. When I talk to my colleagues, even who work in a private equity firm, how much money do you make? Invariably, they will come and they will start talking about, their current salary. And when they start talking about their salary, they will talk about their CTC, the cost to the company, because it's a pride that you wear. And this pride is the biggest thing which is working against you. Because you think you are making this amount of money, you start spending money thinking this is the amount you are making. But that is not the amount you are making. And I will come to that in a minute. So you need to figure out what is your starting point today. Your starting point has two parts. One is what I call what is your wealth today. Does anybody over here know what is your wealth today? What is the net worth of your family today? I think that's your first starting point. And second thing you must know is if this is your wealth today, how much incremental wealth are you adding to this every year through the work that you are doing? I think these are two things that everybody should have at their fingertips at any given point of time. Because if you do not know your starting point, you will not know what your destination is. Let's try and decode what this looks like. And it's very simple, as I said. Now look at the left-hand side. This is what your net worth as a family is. What is your home? You should, all of us should know, what is the value of your home today. If you are owning a home, you should know. If you have bought a home on EMI, you should also know what is the value of that. Number two, each one of us should know how much money is lying in our bank balance. It's important to know. Three, we should all know what is the amount of fixed deposits that we have. Fourth, if you are a salaried employee or if you have been a salaried employee, you should know how much money is accumulating in your provident fund account. How many of you check your PF balances every 6 months, every 3 months, every year? Trust me, most of us don't. But you should know. Fourth, what is the value of your shares today? It could be direct equity or it could be your investment in mutual fund. You must have that details today. I am sure you save up as gold or you would have got gold, whether it's in terms of your marriage or you would have saved them. You should know what is the value of that gold today. Have you measured that gold? How many tolas of gold that is? Have you multiplied that? Create an Excel spreadsheet where you put down all of this. Are you expecting any inheritance? If you are a single daughter, your father is doing well, you know there is a certain amount of wealth that will come to you. If you have a husband who has inherited wealth, what is that inheritance? Include that. You can also include anything else that is there. This Excel spreadsheet, after this class, I request all of you to make and put data over there. This Excel spreadsheet is something you must share with all your family members, including your kids, for them to know where they are today. Depending on this, all of us, you will be able to plan your large ticket expenses. Your kids will also know if this is how big your chadar is, they can only fell out their legs that much. On the right-hand side, from this net worth, you must deduct. If you have any loans, including your bank loan for your home, it should come down from this. If you have a wedding coming up or probably in the future, estimate what that wedding cost should be, because that large wedding ticket will come out from this. If you have ailing parents or grandparents who do not have medical insurance, you will have a medical expenses coming. Estimate that medical expenses, reduce it from this. If you have younger kids who will go for further studies, today further studies, masters will get expensive. Include that, estimate that, and put that number. What it will happen is when you are estimating each one of this, you are also getting a window into both your inheritance or your net worth and your upcoming expenses. It will keep you aligned with your objectives. But more importantly, this is not a one-time exercise. I do it every 6 months. You can do it every 6 months, every year, every quarter, up to you. What I do is, because I have 2 daughters, I shift this responsibility every 6 months. My elder one is 20, my younger one is 12, but they have to do this exercise. Every 6 months, it is their responsibility to present to us. And they will realize every 6 months, your net worth will change. Sometimes it will increase, sometimes it will decrease. It encourages curiosity amongst them. They will ask you questions. I always believe questions are answers. The more our kids ask us questions, the more it gives us a platform to financially educate them. So this is first part of your P. What is your starting point in terms of your net worth today or in terms of your wealth today? But then there is the second part of it, which is what is your annual income. How many of you know today what your income is every year? And when I say yours, it could be yours or it could be you and your family. How many of you today know how much is your monthly or annual expenditure? Do you know how much are you as a family saving every year? What about investment? How much of that saving is actually resulting into investment? How many of you know? Trust me, all of us have it wrong when it comes to looking at your income. We all have a habit of overestimating our income and underestimating our expenditure, because that's the narrative we want to tell ourselves, because we want to enjoy life. So I have this thing that I tell all my colleagues here at Everstone. Your CTC or your salary, what our HR department gave us, is nothing but vanity. What I take home, what is the salary credited to my account, is sanity. What's left at the end of 30 days is reality. Trust me, from vanity to reality, the gap could be between 50 and 75%. And then we wonder why we didn't create wealth. Because we looked at vanity to spend money. We never looked at reality to create wealth. So if your CTC is 100, what comes into your bank account every single month is reality. What comes is, after paying Narendra Modi 30 or 40% tax. Then, if you have a car, or if you have a home, or you bought an expensive TV, some of that will be taken by the financial companies. From your salary every month, certain provident fund is deducted. And then you have certain expenses every month. What is left is your real income, my friends. Income is not your CTC. Income is what is left at the end of the month. That is reality. Do this sanity check every single month and do this exercise for fun. What is that CTC that your HR promised you? What did great number look like? Last year, what was the number that you saw in your bank? And then how much did you end up saving or investing? Trust me, it will open your eyes. I also tell people that it is good if you can estimate your expenses. What is the money that you spend on grocery? What is the money that you give to your home help? What is the money you spend on Zomato, Swiggy? What is the money you spend on online shopping? Try and estimate it and do this exercise before opening your bank account. Trust me, you would have underestimated by at least 50%. Then you make it right by adding expenditures that you did not estimate. And then review it. It is important to review it, because once you review it, you will realize so many of that expenditure, now that you have already spent it, you wished you had not spent it. Do that exercise if you can. Because I have 1 hour, we can't do it online together, but I would have encouraged you all to do it with me. Second thing, very important. You can only create wealth if you are sleeping well. The best thing you can do for your family is buy insurance. Insurance should be an expenditure every month. And it's not very expensive today. If you are somebody in the late 20s, early 30s, a 1 crore term insurance will somewhere cost you about 7,000 rupees a year. If you buy a 10 crore insurance, you'll probably get it for 70,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees every month. Why is this important? Because now you know, in that quest to create wealth, if something untoward to happen to you, you will still leave behind a certain amount of wealth for your family, the interest of which will help you take care of their expenditure. So you now made your worst case scenario. So even before you start, you already have prepared for your worst case scenario that we discussed back then. And all that you can do with that worst case scenario is by investing as little as 7,000 to 50,000 rupees a year. Second, today I always encourage everybody to take a family mediclaim. If you take family mediclaim for a family of four, by spending 10-15,000 rupees a year, you will get a coverage of between 5 and 10 lakh rupees, maybe even 20 lakh rupees. Your employer would have also taken some kind of a family or a medical insurance. Do you know how much medical insurance you have? It is important for you to know, because if you have a decent amount of medical insurance, then in that first sheet where we calculated the net worth, there was a medical expenditure column. You can delete that column, which means your net worth goes up. Very simple ways to ensure that you take care of future exigency like death or disability, and you have taken that as part of your expenditure, so you are not worried about it. So this is very interesting. Till date, 99% of the people that I have spoken to, and when I ask them, how do you invest? This is the answer I get. If this is my income and I spend so much during the month, whatever is left is my savings, is my investment. And it gives me an insight into the person's mind. Why? Because when it comes to creating wealth, your mindset matters most. Now, if you go deeper into that person's mind, for him, expenses comes before investing. His current lifestyle comes more important before investing. Eating that pizza comes more important to him. Hence, first he spends money, then whatever is left, he invests. That's not how you create wealth. This is how not me, but Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and Warren Buffett created wealth. From the income they've made as teenagers, they first invested 25% of that. The balance 75% is what they spent their money and lived a great life. So their expenses were not defined by their income. Their expenses were defined by their income minus investment. They gave priority to investment. They gave priority to savings. They gave priority to wealth. Let's assume if you follow that principle where you invest 25% of your income first before spending money, that 25% that you saved every month multiplied by 12, in only 1 year, you've tripled your income. Just in 1 year. That's the power of investing. And then that one over a 25-year becomes 18x or 20x. Ever your kid forces you to order that pizza from Domino's? If you don't order that pizza from Domino's every week, over a 20 to 25-year period, your kid can have a car, or he can even have an Audi if he wants. By saving only 500 rupees every week on a pizza, you can actually in 25 years own an Audi A4 at today's prices. That's the power of not thinking EMI, but thinking ESI. Earn, save, invest. If expenses is your priority, it's going to be tough for you to create wealth. If investing is your priority, every woman who's over here will create wealth disproportionate to anybody else in the world. I also tell people that if before you embark on this mission, always have 6 months of your expenditure in fixed deposit as your emergency fund. So that tomorrow, if you let go of a job or if you are asked to leave, you have 6 months to live your current lifestyle and find another job. So we discussed the destination, we discussed the starting point. And this is my most favorite, which is discussing R or return. I know if some of you would have watched the Harshad Mehta series called Risk Hai To Ishq Hai, is the punchline. Everything in the world of investing comes down to this one variable, R. Whether you will go and become somebody like a Mukesh Ambani or an Akash Ambani, or you will be somebody like a pauper, will be decided by your view on risk. In 25, 30 years that I have spent in financial markets, I can tell you this four-letter word, RISK, is the most misunderstood, most abused word there is ever. And it is the most simplest word. Risk and return go hand in hand. If you want to make higher returns, you must take higher risk. There is no other alternative. But the reality of the world is everybody wants to take low risk, but wants to make more money. Today's example, I was watching match in our canteen, in our cafe at lunch, and one of my colleagues told me, "Arey Prashant, koi aisa scheme batana where I can double my money." And I asked him, "Yeah, you can easily double your money, but in how many years do you want to double your money?" And he didn't understand the question. So I asked him, "Do you want to double your money in 10 years' time?" He said, "No, not that long." Then I said, 5 years' time? He said, "Yeah, but not that long also." Then I said, 1 year's time? He said, "Yeah, that will be great." I said, "What about 6 months' time?" He said, "Boss, please jaldi bata." I said, "What about 3 months' time?" He said, "Boss, are you joking?" So I told him, "I can double your money in 3 months' time." So he said, "Tell me how." I said, "Leave Everstone, become a drug peddler." Told him, "Leave Everstone, go and sit in a casino." And this is the mistake we all make. We all get lured by high returns, not realizing that if the returns are high, whether you like it or not, the risks are high. And it is this metric that will define how much wealth you create. All of us have two options, and they are not mutually exclusive. Either you have a loner mindset where you are risk averse, where your sole objective is to get the capital back. You somewhere want capital protection. You don't want to lose money. In which case, what you will end up doing is give money to your banks, either in savings deposit or in fixed deposit, or you will put money in debt mutual fund, or you will go and buy gold, or you will probably go and invest in a home. Because all that you see on the left-hand side are areas where there are very low probability for you to lose money. But as I said, if risk is low, they will also deliver low return to you. Then you can't make 2 crores in 25 years because each of these will give you a post-tax return of 5 to 6%, not 12% that we want. Or I'm wrong to say we want that 12% that can create 2 crore of rupees. On the right-hand side, you have a owner's mindset. As Pratibha said, somebody like me who started a business and lost a lot of money. When you have an owner's mindset, you have a risk-taking mindset, where you invest capital to take risk for capital appreciation. With capital appreciation, capital depreciation also comes. Because you take risk, the market will reward you with higher returns. But for that higher returns and the higher risk you are taking, you may also lose money. Examples of this are nothing but equity markets. Either you can put directly money in equity markets or through mutual fund. You have only two ways to play this. There is no third way. But before I get into that, let's look at what I am trying to say here. So if you look at today, the lowest risk is your savings bank deposit. Today, if you have your money lying in savings deposit, it gives you 3% interest. This is annual interest. So if you have 1,000 rupees in your savings bank, at the end of a year, that 1,000 will become 1,020, not 30, because 30% is the tax they will take from. So it's actually only generating 2% return. If you are somebody who are a little wiser and have put money in fixed deposit, it will generate 6% return. So for all of you who are listening to me today, whatever money tomorrow or tonight you have in your savings bank deposit, please call your banker and convert all of that into fixed deposit or a flexible fixed deposit. Only by taking this one action, you would have doubled the interest you are making without taking any risk. Just one phone call. If you are somebody who wants to take a little higher risk, you can go to gold or debt mutual fund. Between 8 and 10% return it generates. But why do I say in gold or in debt mutual fund there is a risk? Because gold prices fluctuate. Because your debt mutual fund will also take risk on corporate debt, the returns will fluctuate. You can also put money in, say, Bajaj Finance or Reliance's fixed deposit. You will get 9 to 10% return. But mind you, you are still taking risk because it's a private company, it may fail. You can invest in a home. Home gives you 10 to 12% return over a 10, 12, 15-year period. Your home value will double. But the problem with home is that you need a large amount of capital to go and buy a home, or you need to take debt, in which case it evens out. Then you go up the ladder, you are investing in equities. And in equities, your returns may range from 13.5% up to 24% and even higher. So this is your risk ladder. Now you have to decide, basis the math that we did, if this is my starting position, if this is where I want to be, over this period of time, this is the risk I will end up taking. One thing that we all make mistake is we think risk as binary, as an on-off switch. Taking risk is not an on-off switch. It does not mean you have to put everything in high risk or everything in low risk. No. You can choose your risk. Everybody's risk appetite is different. It is personal. It is like your thumbprint. Your risk signature will be very different than mine. I told you I lost my father when I was 7 years old. My elder brother, who is 5 years elder to me, my elder brother cannot take any risk. The same event made him a very risk-averse person. That same event made me a very high-risk taker. Since 1995, the day I started working, 100% of my investment is in stock markets. 100% of my brother's investment is in low risk. Everybody's risk signature is different. But how much risk should you take? If somebody has this question, what risk should you take? This is where inflation comes. What is inflation? The महंगाई, right? Today, if you are somebody, today in Bombay, we sell vada pav for 20 rupees. If the inflation is what it is today, which is about 5 to 7%, your street inflation will be about 10%. In 10 years' time, the same vada pav, instead of 20 rupees, will cost me 36 rupees. And all of you know this better than us because most women take care of the household expenditure. You know what was the price of milk 10 years back. What is it now? How much did a banana cost 10 years back? How much does it cost now? Your expenditure will always increase because of inflation. Minimum, you should generate a return that should probably allow you to beat inflation. And I'll tell you this very interesting story. Let me tell you, if you have a son or a daughter who comes back from their exam and tells you, Dad or Mom, I passed. I got passing marks. How happy will you be? In our time, the passing mark was 35 out of 100. If your kid got 35 out of 100, how happy will you be? I will be pretty disappointed, to be very honest. Now, let me tell you, how disappointed will you be if your kid comes back and instead of 35, your kid gets 20 out of 100? Won't you slap your kid? Won't you be very upset? We all want our kids to excel in exam. But look at what we do in this exam of life called wealth, where everything that we are doing is to create wealth for the betterment of our family. I'll throw a statistic that will blow your mind. 95% Indians are getting 20 out of 100 when it comes to their wealth creation. They are failing. 95% of India's wealth is in savings deposit and fixed deposits. If 7% is the passing mark, they are making 3 or 4%. Every single year, they are losing wealth. They think they are creating wealth because that 100 has become 103. What they are not realizing is that in that 103, they cannot buy what they were buying 1 year back for 100. They are becoming poor every single year. The only way to make money is to send your money to do work for you. Your money has to make more money than the inflation in the country. You have to decide how much risk you want to take to beat inflation. And taking risk is like a thali in a buffet. You choose. You can have little FD, little savings deposit, little gold, little home loan, little equity. You decide. For somebody like me, I have only equity. I have filled my thali with what I love eating the most. You are somebody who doesn't like taking too much of risk, but you still want to take some risk. Take 20% risk. Your thali will look very differently. Somebody wants to take higher risk, their thali will look very differently. And mind you, this thali and the pieces of this thali will change. As you get more comfortable with risk, you can take higher risk. If you get uncomfortable with risk, you can reduce your risk. It's completely up to you. Everybody's thali should be different depending on what their risk appetite is. Your biggest friend is time. How many of you think stock market is gambling? How many of you think stock market is risky? Let me share something interesting for you. If you put money in stock markets, which will create disproportionate health, which is what is going to make or break when it comes to creating disproportionate wealth, earning more than inflation, passing and excelling. If you invest money in stock markets, there is a 50% chance that you will lose money in 1 year's time. 50% chance. If you put money in stock markets for 5 years' time, there is 20% chance that you will lose money. 50% comes down to 20%. If you put money in stock market for a 10-year period, it's not 10%. 0%. There is 0% chance that you will lose money if you invest in stock market for a 10-year period. That is where we misunderstand the stock markets. That is where we misunderstand wealth creation. All the wealth that has been created in the world has only been created either by building businesses where you are taking risk or by investing in stock markets. And the only way to reduce this risk is by expanding your time horizon. So after you've taken care of your expenses, after you've taken care of all the emergency, now you know this is the money that I will not need for the next 10 years. Invest that much money in stock markets. And remain invested over a longer period of time. Trust me, you will make disproportionate money. I am a big example of that. And there are plenty of examples. And keep modulating this. Somebody had asked me the other day that, is there a formula to this? There are formulas you will see in social media. Normally people say, whatever is your age, that is the amount you should put in low risk assets. So if I am 52, 52% of my wealth should be in low risk asset, which means 48% should be in equity. But it is again personal. One thing I will tell you, you must take only the risk that you can digest. If you are somebody who cannot take risk, then probably put your money in fixed. Put your money in the left-hand side. There is no shame in that. But I'll tell you where the shame is. If you are principally a low-risk taker, don't compare your wealth with somebody who's a high-risk taker. I hate it when people abuse Mukesh. Mukesh Ambani, he has so much of money, he splurged so much of money in one wedding, XYZ. Why will he not? His father took disproportionate risk from a petrol pump person to create this wealth. You don't want to take a risk, it is okay. But then don't look down upon people who take that risk. And that is the big problem. The big societal problem is we look down upon people who are wealthy. Why? We must look up to them. Because if they can make money, we can too. As I said, the formula is very simple. Just put your money, let it ride for 10, 20 years, you will create disproportionate wealth. You probably may not be a Mukesh Ambani, but your granddaughter will certainly be in that zone. If you add one more layer to that and put that 400 crores and multiply, you will know what I am talking about. So I always say risk, return, time, and trade-off. All four are linked. It is completely your choice. My last few comments before I end to sum this up, that making money has a lot more to do with mindset than making money. I always tell this, all behavior is belief driven. Believe you can, believe you can't. Either way, you are right. Henry Ford said that. If you believe you can create wealth, your behavior will change. If you believe you can't create wealth, your behavior will not change. I also believe that everyone must create wealth. It is our responsibility to create wealth for our next generation. When I was young, I was always told, I grew up in Calcutta, where Bengalis had this affection towards attaching morality to money. And in Bengali, they would say, hey, eto taka niye ki korbi? Kya karega itna paisa? The moment we start looking at making money as a bad thing, you will not make money. And I'll give you, it is in our history, it is in our Vedas, it is written to make money. What do you write in Diwali? Shubh Labh. Profit is good. As long as it's auspicious, as long as you are not making that money through illegal means, profit is good. It's coming down from generation, which is why we welcome Lakshmi Mai in Diwali. Don't make the mistake of attaching morality to money. We started with that, and I will end with that. Make money a dinner table conversation. Get your kids comfortable with money. Money is not a male conversation, it's a family conversation. When you think of money, think of risk. It is the most important four-letter word. Doesn't matter what anybody says. If somebody tomorrow comes and tells you, boss, guarantee bol raha hu, zero risk hai, 30% return, he is lying. If savings deposit is 3%, zero risk, if he is saying 30%, whether you like it or not, this is the risk you are taking. Everything else is a blatant lie. When it comes to money, guys, don't compare. Make your peace with what your destination is. It is your path. It is your journey. It is your destination. Don't have a destination because somebody else has the same destination. It is your life, you decide. But don't compare. Comparison will either make you feel miserable or it will unnecessarily make you feel arrogant. Because when you compare with somebody who does not have money, it makes you feel arrogant. With somebody who has too much of money, you feel inferior. Making money is simple, but it is not easy. It is as simple as putting 10,000 rupees every month in a SIP, in an equity mutual fund, because equities have given on average 12 to 15% return over the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It is as simple. Why is it difficult? It is difficult because someday some friend will say, put money in this. I have this tip. I always tell people, tips are injurious to wealth. When somebody WhatsApps you or some friend tells you buy this stock, don't buy. Which is why I feel women are more better equipped to create wealth than men, because they are far more patient than men. They have far more conviction. They will not waver very easily. Women, you girls are so much better than us in terms of creating wealth. Men will get lured. We are by definition greedy from evolutionary standpoint. You are not. In the past, men had to go and hunt. We had to take a risk. Women were taking care of the tribe. Because of that, you have God's gift of patience and conviction, which is what is required to create wealth. Risk, no. If you increase your time frame, you can automatically reduce risk and still create disproportionate wealth. But in the end, all of you remember, you must sleep well. Whatever is your decision, it's your personal decision. You make your peace with it and be happy. If you invariably get, pushed by somebody or nudged by somebody to do something which is not in your zone, and you feel miserable later, come back and do what you feel happy. Happy Women's Day to all of you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. If there are any questions, I can take, and I'll just exit the share screen.
I think Bhavna Tandon, can we unmute her? Megha. Or Bhavna, if you can post your question on chat. Prashant, I wish I had some of these insights, 2 decades ago. I think I overexposed myself on property, and I realized that today. But the power of markets. There are a lot of questions, I had. I think a reality of India is that a lot of us have a lot of cash. But I think that might be another webinar. Bhavna, you need to unmute yourself. Megha, you have to do it. In the meantime, I'm just putting our B4Have Foundation Gmail address on the chat in case any feedbacks, and if you want us to continue these webinar series, please do write to us. I think we're having technical difficulties. Rima, do you want?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Firstly, a very heartfelt thanks to Mr. Prashant Desai. It has been an eye-opener for me, and Pratibha would understand. You have taken out your precious time to throw light and impart essential knowledge to women on an area which has been ignored. Being a well-educated homemaker, yet a complete financial novice, I mean, this has really been an eye-opener. But having said that, Prashant, you have voiced every question and doubt that everyone, regardless of gender or age, should ask and know. This masterclass is for everyone. Financial security, I think, is very important part of empowering ourselves. Most women feel insecure or continue to suffer under certain circumstances due to either financial dependency or lack of financial education. The gender roles have been changed over a period of time, they have been redefined, and yet financial literacy is an area of concern amongst most women. And we at We for Her realize that empowerment is not possible without financial freedom. And as we try to continue to reach out to more and more women and spread awareness about our programs, please spread the word, whoever is here on call and whoever would be watching this recorded webinar. Please spread the word and awareness about our programs, and you can reach out to us on weforherfoundation@gmail.com for feedback and suggestions. Also, let us know if we should do this as a series of masterclasses, and we look forward to more meaningful and important interactions like this. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll end on that note. Thank you, everyone.